right, what is up, everybody? I'm your guy Rez, and I am back again with y'all for another episode. This is episode 3 to be exact, and I still don't have a name for this segment. I will come up with one very soon, I promise you guys. But I have a very special guest on this segment again, of course, like the other 2 weeks that I did. But I do want to give a huge shout out to my guest right here, Eric A.K.A. basketball_threads on IG. Salute to you, bro. What is up, man?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Rez. I really appreciate you making the time to just have me on your show. It just feels like a show. You know, this is going to be a, organic conversation. I'm really excited and humbled to be here. Thank you for having me.
For sure, man. Nah, I thank you, man. I know you're in the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so there is a 3-hour time gap between both of our time zones here, but we still made it. We still made it work out. So I'm real excited. But, before I get into it, let me pop this open because I actually just got off of work. So I need some energy to really hype up the crowd in here. So before I start though, why don't you just tell us about yourself? Obviously your name's Eric, but where are you from? How you got into the whole YouTube stuff and everything like that.
Oh yeah, my name's Eric. My platform is basketball_threads on Instagram. On YouTube, my channel name is my first name just because that's my personal email account that got linked, and I'm not gonna change that to basketball_threads because I'm still in school. So talking about school, I'm currently actually back in school for pharmacy. I'm currently residing in Western Pennsylvania, and hoping to see, I think next year I'll be done with school, and hopefully I'll have a job by then, and we'll see what happens. Regarding my YouTube channel itself, I started a long time ago. I put up mostly video edits of mixes of NBA mixes. I did a couple of them at the time. They didn't get as much hits, obviously, as those professional ones that you see now. I think I started making the jersey videos relatively recently, I want to say. I think in late 2019. I just wanted to showcase a couple of the jerseys I had, or I guess more than a couple, some of the jerseys I had. It was also out of inspiration because I went on YouTube. I saw King Leonidas' video was the first hit, or one of the first hits on the top of the search results, and I hit his video, and it was just him talking about his jerseys, and I was like, whoa, that has a lot of jerseys talking about it. It's kind of cool. I kind of want to do this. So I did it too, except mine was a little different. I'm giving it more of a POV shot so the viewers can just see more of the jerseys themselves. And then it also just kind of expanded to making a little more informative videos about kind of identifying real versus fake items to kind of help some of the novice collectors or just fans of the sport. Because I've gotten duped and it's not a good feeling. Sometimes eBay just doesn't really resolve it, even though you want to as a consumer. My intention was making those videos so, people can get more knowledgeable and acquainted with the jersey game. Specifically with the jerseys, I would say it's more with the Swingman and the authentic line. I'm not a hardcore collector like some other jersey heads out there who collect game issued, game worn, pro cut, all that stuff. Respect to them. My budget's not that high. If it were, I would definitely, do that.
Well, I will say this. I think that the joy of collecting jerseys is that there's tiers. So obviously you have your Swingmans, or, you have your replicas or Fanatics brand, and then you have your Swingmans, and then you have the authentics. And then if you're lucky, you could get game issued, game worn. And so the tiers of the affordability based on your income, I think is great. I think it's dope that a lot of sports brands do this. So I totally get you, man. I'm assuming you're a Nets fan, right? Because you got Nets jerseys behind you.
Yeah. So this is not usually how my house is laid out. I managed to just modify a couple of decorations I have back here. I figured, I'm on the show with Rez. I should just put up some jerseys. I was trying to figure out, this was actually my day's homework assignment after class. I was trying to figure out which jerseys to put up. And I was like, okay, I know Rez represents the Bay Area, the Dub Nation, respect. But I was like, all right, I'm going to represent New Jersey Nets, and the Brooklyn Nets right here. So I went with two point guards of the franchise in the last 20 years. Shout out to J. Kidd. He was the one who made me a fan of the sport and a fan of the Nets back in the early 2000s. Yeah. And to Kyrie, who's been just kind of killing it this season, honestly.
That J. Kidd, that style, that era of the Nets jerseys were always one of my favorites. I really liked Vince Carter, and that whole duo with him and J. Kidd, back in the day. So salute to you, man. I definitely wouldn't mind getting that. I know Mitchell Ness recently released the Nets jersey. And
they did. They I believe they released the Navy one, the one that says New Jersey in front. They
Super
released
dope.
the authentic for the kid and for the Carter, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't there like an orange one or something? Wasn't that like an alternate one or can't
The
remember?
red one, the
A red,
red
red.
alter.
Okay, yeah.
That one I don't think Mitchell and Ness has made. I
No,
might
they
be
they
wrong.
didn't. I don't think. Yeah, it's weird because they don't really make like a lot of alternate jerseys. I know for like the Warriors, they made the Steph Curry the alternate orange. That was like that's one of my favorite Warriors uniforms. But how long have you been collecting, man?
Yeah, I mean, I've been collecting since I want to say, like with my own money, like 2008, 2009. That
Okay.
was my first purchase, the Kobe Bryant white Swingman jersey, the Sunday whites.
Yeah.
And I remember getting that from the NBA store. This was after, I worked my first ever summer job. I saved up a little bit. I figured, hey, I should treat myself. I worked my ass off this summer. Why not? So
Absolutely.
I went on NBA.com. Kobe was my favorite player, all time, also at the time. Purchased that Swingman jersey because I thought white would look pretty well with like a bunch of it's pretty flexible in terms of like how you could fit it.
Sure.
And the Swingman jersey, I recall, they were at the time $75 from the NBA store. Single stitch twill, right?
Yeah.
So we can talk about it later, but the Swingman line has, I know you made your video about it, Rez, but the Swingman line, generally speaking, has definitely taken a decline, I would say, in terms of the quality control and finish in recent years.
I know.
Yeah.
It's painful, man, but I get it. That's just kind of what it is. Like I know you're not like really like a big sneaker guy, but like I always compare it to that, the whole sneaker aspect of it. Because back in the day, back when sneakers, I'm gonna use Jordans for an example, because I collected Jordans for a long time. So back in the day when Jordans came out, they came out back in '85. The first pair of Air Jordan 1s dropped. And then over the years, the quality was just magnificent. It was phenomenal, genuine, grade A leather and all this stuff. Over the years, okay, the quality starts to kind of go like this and the price starts to go like this. So some point in time, I want to say about like maybe like 5 or 10 years ago, Jordan Brand tried to coach us, us as consumers, saying, okay, we hear you. We're going to do what they call the remastered, and they're basically going to bring back genuine quality craftsmanship on the sneakers. Didn't really see it, to be honest with you. I felt like it was just a marketing tactic to just kind of pull more money from us, because what they did was they raised the price and the quality went up by like this much, which wasn't a significant amount for us to get that feeling again. So I get it. It's kind of like, when you have like, it's like inflation, price goes up on stuff and we're getting the same stuff, but in this instance, just kind of going back to it now, it's like the sneakers are quality is nowhere near compared to the older stuff. And it has a lot to do with economy, resources. I'm not even getting into all that, but Swingmans, the same thing. I remember back in the day when Swingmans used to be really nice quality. They'd have like single layer of stitching, on the twill right there. And then, even like the print was just very, very nice. I remember for me, one of the Swingman lines that I really enjoyed the most was the older Nike stuff. I don't know, like the old, like the Nike Rewind stuff were super dope. Yeah. That Nike right there. I have a Yao Ming in that around that era. The Rockets one's super dope. I still wear it from time to time.
Do you have the Rockets one with like the pinstripe one, the rookie Yao Ming?
No, I don't. I have the one with just the little like the side, the white trims on the side. I don't know.
Wow, I see.
Yeah, I don't like. I definitely want to get more Yao Ming jerseys, because I think Yao Ming was one of the best centers to play. I mean, this guy had a phenomenal free throw percentage. He was a big guy, obviously. Yeah. And plus, like, he was Asian. So he's Asian. So, I got to represent my Asian people out there. You know what I'm saying? So it was super dope. It was super dope to see somebody like that play. And I was really happy to witness that, like, during my lifetime. So you said that the first jersey you purchased was a Kobe Bryant?
The Swingman jersey, yeah, Kobe Bryant jersey. Might have been at the end of his 2007-2008 MVP season. It was after the Beijing Olympics when Team USA, the Redeem team, beat Spain, that really competitive close game that I think a lot of fans, maybe younger fans right now, might not remember. It's kind of crazy that 2008 was already 13 years ago. It just blows my mind when we just talk about it like
getting
this.
Old, bro. At least for me, I'm getting old. When you got into the jersey game, like, was there a person or an event?
I think for me, I've been a visual learner, and I've always been obsessed with like what the players wear on the courts. Like alternate jerseys were always like really appealing to me. I'm like, ooh, they're wearing something different tonight. Or if it's like throwback hardwood classics nights. And that just got me into like kind of wanting to start like a whole collection. But the Kobe Bryant one was like a starter, and then the rest just kind of happened in the last 13 years. I would say the bulk of this collection probably occurred like, before I went back to school, I was working. So I was able to, acquire a bunch at that time then. Also during this pandemic, I somehow ended up getting a lot more to the collection as well.
The pandemic has really changed, I think, a lot of collectors' perspective on things. I don't know if you followed like the other videos that I did, but like I wasn't collecting jerseys for a while. It was around like 5 or 6 years. I just took a hiatus. When I got back into it, I mean, I was buying jerseys from time to time, like, but I never knew like what was going on. Like, I didn't know what a statement edition was. I didn't know what the icon editions or badge editions, like all these names now, even for like football and stuff like that. I was like, what? I just remember like the home, the away, and the alternates. Like, I'm old school. So,
yeah,
it's interesting to see now that like Nike and a lot of these other sports wear brands are bringing back these jerseys, but with different like types of styles and stuff. And it's crazy because like the NBA, like, man, there's just so many different styles, and I like it. I didn't like it at first because I felt like, oh man, they're breaking my pockets and everything. But like as a collector, you can't ask for more. I mean, it's great. It's the looks look amazing, and just the whole meaning behind them. Do you have like a specific jersey style that you like love, like your all-time favorite jersey style? Any team, doesn't even have to be the Nets.
Gotta give it to the Warriors, man. The Warriors have some really good objectively speaking, they got some good jerseys. King Leonidas and I talk about it all the time. Like, Warriors have really good jerseys. I would say the Bulls are just the classic iconic look.
Yeah.
And I would just throw the Lakers up there as well, just because Kobe was my favorite. That purple and gold and that he wore and he dominated it. Just those images are forever ingrained in my mind.
Those are good choices, man. With the Bulls, they're one of those styles. I compared like the Bulls to like the 49ers. I know they're two different sports, but I mean, like, they don't really change too much with their uniforms. They've always kind of been same aesthetic, same look, same feel to it. But I remember like I had a Ben Gordon authentic, and that was like back in the era when they were using that dazzle material on.
Yeah.
I miss those.
Yeah, that was, I think, the Adidas run. I think that was the Adidas run. Ben Gordon came into the league in, I think, 2004.
Around, yeah.
He was a rookie. He was a rookie and he won Sixth Man of the Year. Still the only person to ever do that, which is like wild if you think about it,
Yeah. Nah, I loved him as a Bull. Him and like Kirk Heinrich and
they were super underrated.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Ben Gordon for what was it, 2009 D Rose's rookie playoff series. Ben Gordon also went off that series. That first round between the Bulls and the Celtics. If you for those watching, if you watch that series, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That 7-game series was insane.
You seem to be like very knowledgeable with your basketball history. So like, did you like take like a class or something, or was this something that you kind of just do it on your free time, like research and watch like all the history and stuff?
Definitely no class. But I think it was just mostly like just self-didactic. As a young fan in the early 2000s, I mean, you were around as well, and you remember like how HTML, Internet Explorer, all that worked back then. The NBA website was also, functioning, but they had a separate history portion. I remember NBA history. I forget what the exact URL was, but I remember I was just clicking on it. It was just fascinating because that actually was really organized pretty well. They really did a good job displaying like their legends, and I would like kind of hit as many legends as I could. Mostly, I think in the recent ones. That's why I have, even though I grew up with the 2000s era of hoops, I have so much respect and admiration for the 90s decades because, it was only more recent for me at the time. And I also remember as a young kid, just seeing the Bulls on the front page, always just dominating.
I got to ask you this, since you're like a big jersey guy like myself, I noticed that you collect a lot of Swingmans, but I also noticed you have a lot of authentics. Is there one that you prefer over the other? I mean, I know we all know that like authentics are higher quality, but if money wasn't an issue, would you choose one or the other, or do you have a preference?
It's a tricky balance. As much as obviously, there's no comparison, like the authentic is definitely the superior quality. I think everyone's aware of that.
Yeah.
The Swingman, for what it is and its like price point for a general fan's budget, I think definitely is acceptable. But I think to answer your question, what I more generally lean towards, I think I would lean more towards the Swingman, only because I do wear them more. I do wear my jerseys more for casual use. I don't really play sports in them. I don't really exercise in them because I just don't really want to get my jerseys all that dirty and stinky. But my greatest fear of wearing an authentic, the few authentics I have a handful of them. When I do wear them, I have to be, and I'm sure you can relate, you have to be like extra alert. Like wherever you're going to sit, you need to like make sure that seat doesn't have like gum on it or like paint or some stains. Seriously, because it hasn't happened to my authentic, but one of my old school Nike Swingman jerseys. This is back in middle school. So like this is a jersey that was gifted to me by my parents. I had a LeBron James double XL. Shout out to those baggy era jerseys. And this is I was maybe like 5 inches smaller than I am now. I'm 5'9", so I was probably like 5'4", and this crazy kid was rocking a double XL Swingman jersey, and just literally it was a dress. Fell down to my knees. I didn't care. I just remember sitting down in class. After class was done, I got up, and one of my friends was like, "Hey, Eric, you got gum on your butt." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I saw on the back of that Swingman jersey, there was gum literally on my ass. And I was just like, "You got to be effing kidding me. What is this nonsense?" I don't know what happened. I remember going home. I never really took care of that gum issue. So that stained it kind of like forever. I was never able to get rid of it.
Yeah.
But I was actually able to like let go of the jersey recently just because like I'm not gonna wear it anymore and it's flawed. I sold it for pretty cheap, for any LeBron collector, I'm sure they'll be fine with it.
Jersey care, like you want to make sure you preserve your jerseys and you want to keep them up to date and fresh as possible. Do you have a specific method or way of preserving your jerseys? Because I know it's very like these garments that we wear are not cheap, and we're paying it. It's coming out of our own pockets. What kind of technique do you use?
Yeah, I'll be honest. I actually don't throw my jerseys in the wash, as crazy as that sounds. Especially for the Swingman jerseys, they're not really meant to be thrown in the wash. I feel really bad for those people who don't know and they throw their Swingmans in the wash for the first time. I've never like done it, so it's never happened to me personally, but I've seen the video, I've seen the footage of other people's jerseys getting ruined, and I really feel for them. But what I do with my jerseys is I use a steam cleaner. Febreze it first, inside and outside, flip it. And then I steam clean it and then I just hang it up, hang dry for like a day. And it's usually all good. If there's like a noticeable stain, I'll use like a Tide pen. Shout out to Tide. But those are pretty helpful.
I've actually thrown some of my Swingmans in the washer. This is well before I even knew anything about jersey care and stuff. And the older Swingmans, they held up pretty well, more than like the newer stuff today. But I definitely saw like fading. Like I remember, to most recent memory was my Miami Heat Shaquille O'Neal Swingman, and I remember I used to hoop in my stuff, because I felt like I was a cool kid. I felt like I was Shaq, even though I'm 5'9". And I basically threw it in the washer, and I threw it in the dryer, and I noticed that and I knew that the numbers. This does not look good. What in the world happened to this thing? And it was destroyed. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably would have been able to get like maybe like one or two wears after that. But then if I threw it in there again, I was just like, why is my stuff turning like this? What the hell? Yeah. And then I started getting introduced to authentics, and then obviously dry cleaners and things of that nature. And I don't really like do a lot of physical sports in my sports jerseys. I know that's ironic, but I completely get you, man. I think like the Tide pen and like steam cleaner will definitely do the trick, just as long as you're keeping your jerseys with minimal wear, you know what I'm saying? So like I know you have a ton of jerseys, but like what do you have a number?
I actually had a spreadsheet. I didn't update it because of school, but I do have over 105, I think, last time I checked. Okay. It's mostly Swingman. I will say in terms of authentics, I think I have about 13 or 14. So it's like, it's not too many authentics compared to those people who strictly collect authentic jerseys, but mostly Swingman jerseys for, the same reasons I've already stated before. They're just a lot more comfortable for me, like mentally, when I'm wearing it casually.
Yeah, and all these jerseys that you own, like, do you do you buy these jerseys to wear, to display, or do you have like a set group of display only, and then or vice versa?
These are just strictly right now for wear. There's no display. This is an anomaly. This is not usually how it is. I had to bring it big for your show, bro. So that's why the Nets jerseys are on the back. Yeah, and also I don't think I shared. Yeah, I'm rocking the Brooklyn Nets 2018-19 City Edition of D'Angelo Russell. I think he was on the Warriors for like a brief minute for you guys. I remember because I still followed him when he went to the Bay. He was like, okay, I know he dropped the 50 piece, and I remember watching that. I was like, holy cow, like he's on fire. But him and Steph also, I mean, Steph's hand got crushed. Yeah. Shout out to Aaron Baines' fat ass. But my goodness, no, if you see that play, like, I'm surprised like the injury wasn't like worse. I thought his like wrist was like dislocated or something. Like it looked bad.
I know it's like always every time I see my Dubs play, man, and I see like whether it's Steph, Draymond, whoever on the team, if I see them fall like that, Steph's recent injury, that tailbone injury, like I looked at it as like, okay, he just fell on his ass. But then when like I looked it up and they're like tailbone collar and all this stuff, I was like, ooh, that sounds painful. And so like you know, even with Klay Thompson's injury, man, I was like so heartbroken because you know it's just it's tough, bro. It's tough to be a Warriors fan right
now. I think Klay is probably he's the most like level-headed of the three. He's so chill. He's so nonchalant. Yeah. I don't really know any non-Warriors fans who could hate on Klay. I know people can hate on Steph just because some people honestly fail to see greatness. That's just what it is. And a lot of people hate on Draymond because he's more outspoken. He can be cocky here and there, but Draymond's also a really good player. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I don't know if you've seen, but I have this reel on my Instagram page that kind of just blew up more than I initially intended. I just went off the quote. Draymond said he's the best defender ever, and I was just like, okay, he's one of the best. I don't think he's the best. So I just stated 10 jerseys and 10 people who I thought were better, and somehow this reel kind of blew up. I don't know how in terms of the Instagram algorithm, it blew up. I got all these like new followers, people commenting constantly on it, saying like, bro, you don't know shit about basketball. Like, you don't know anything. And I'm just like, okay, like, chill. Some of these comments I'll like fire back at them too. It's just really fun to like interact with some of these trolls.
Since we're talking about basketball, let's focus the attention on the Nets, man. I know you're a Nets fan. You guys are number one right now in the East, you know, with Philly in a second. But do you guys really think that you guys are going to win the chip this year? Like, be totally honest.
I actually think so. If the big three are healthy, I think so. I don't see why not. The recent addition of LaMarcus was actually a heist. He's been actually phenomenal. DeAndre Jordan is now completely out of the Nets rotation. Aldridge is 35 years old. I think DeAndre's 31. So Aldridge is 4 years older, has been in the league for much longer, and still his skills, it just shows you as a fan that the skills will always outlast the athleticism. And shout out to LaMarcus Aldridge. Shout out to Sean Marks, the GM, for abusing that buyout market. But I do think the Nets can win it all. As a Nets fan who's been rocking it since J. Kidd, and also with the Billy King era in the 2010s when Danny Ainge of the Celtics screwed us over, that wasn't fun. So many draft picks were lost. I'm happy as a Nets fan to kind of root for a title contending team again. I know Jason Kidd obviously led his teams to the finals, but like no one really looks at that team and they're like, oh, that's an all-time great team, even though they made it to back-to-back finals, you know? It was just mostly J. Kidd and role players, but they've only played in 7 games, which is
I think so too, man. And this is coming from a Dubs fan. Like this season, to me, I'm looking at it from a Dubs standpoint. We're not going nowhere. You know, it'd be nice if we make it to the playoffs, get these young guys seasoned, and get ready for Klay to be healthy for next season and make moves. You know what I'm saying? So I'm looking at it like I'm looking at the East right now because. I mean, me as a Dubs fan, I despise the Lakers. You know, no disrespect to LeBron or anything. I know he's great. I'm not saying he's not, but I really would like to see someone in the East take it this year because the East is so interesting, man. You guys, you got the Philly, who's, you know, Embiid is possible MVP. You know, you got the big three. Honestly, I call it the big five because you all got Blake Griffin, Aldridge. You guys are stacked like pancakes, bro. So it's going to be interesting. And also, I'm a huge Steve Nash fan. Like, Steve Nash was one of my favorite players especially when he was with the Suns, again, back-to-back MVPs. I'm rooting for you guys, man. I hope you guys do take the chip. And plus, KD was a former Warrior, so I gotta see that greatness continue.
I mean, I don't know if you saw, but KD finally returned from his hamstring injury. Almost 2 months he's been out, and he came off the bench. Initially, he was like slated to start. He came off the bench. I think played 19 minutes or 17 minutes. I don't remember, but he scored like 17 points. Didn't miss a field goal. And it's just like, okay, I guess KD's our sixth man. I'm joking, but like, it's kind of crazy. Just like have that luxury of KD as your sixth man, and just it's all good.
Yeah, he filled a lot of gaps for us when he was with the Dubs. I know he was injured like in the playoffs, and I know we won a chip without him back in 2015, but like he made a huge difference. I honestly think that we wouldn't have won those championships, those additional 2 championships, had it not been for KD. Because believe it or not, like I know a lot of us, including myself in the beginning, were like, nah, we don't need him. We don't need him. We won without him. But no, he is a genuine playmaker. He can play almost every position effectively. And if you surround him with other great players, there's no reason for you to not win a chip.
I'm a big fan of KD. In terms of, I mean, we can talk about it later, but in terms of like favorite players all time, he's third all time on my personal like favorite players ever. His game, just objectively speaking, if you watch it on the court, there's no one else who has been that versatile offensively speaking. He's like the perfect 3-level scorer. He elevated you guys to like dynasty status, and especially in 2017 when you guys went 16-1, right?
We had like our best record in NBA history. Even though we didn't win, I thought we should have won, to be honest with you, because that record just kind of goes out the window.
Bro, I think people really forget about how good Steph Curry was in that regular season. And also people forget, like, Steph also, like, messed up his knee in the playoffs. So he wasn't, not that it's an excuse, for his play, but, like, he wasn't 100% Steph in the playoffs. Like, if you look at the Warriors, like, their records, obviously they went 73-9 in 2016 in the regular season. In the playoffs, they lost 9 games in the playoffs. And it's just like people trying to figure out, oh, what happened? Well, Steph Curry was injured and he wasn't 100%. So it does make people wonder what if. I mean, there's always a what if game with injuries every year. That's just part of the game and part of the sport. That's just what it is. I think Steph's MVP season in 2015, 2016 was one of the greatest like shows I've ever seen. It was must-watch television. You would tune in because they were chasing the Bulls' all-time record, which we thought was impossible. That one game, I think we can all remember, is the game at OKC. Did you watch that game live?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I wasn't there live, but I saw it on TV.
Like I meant like on TV. Like, did you watch it like as it happened? Yeah. If you remember that game, the Warriors were down like for a bunch of that game. They didn't deserve to win that game, but like you saw Steph's greatness just shine, and then that disrespectful pull-up 3. I've never seen anything like that ever in my life. That was unbelievable.
It was pretty rowdy, man, out here in the Bay when we were playing OKC. So. Who do you think is MVP in the league right now?
Everyone's talking about Jokic. I don't think he's missed any games, and I think that's the biggest factor for this year's MVP race. We hate to discard other candidates because they were out due to injury, but this season's schedule has been so accelerated with COVID, the amount of games in the short amount of time. A lot of players are getting injured because there's not enough rest time. I think we got to give some props to Jokic for, keeping in shape, even though he claims to be not the most athletic person in the world. But Jokic is a monster. I don't think we've ever seen anything like that. He is a true point center.
I was rooting for him to go to the Dubs.
Dude, imagine Jokic as a playmaker. Oh my God. In Kerr's system, that would break everything.
I do want to talk about also like in your terms of collecting, because I know that you said you had like 100+ jerseys. What's your like living situation? Like, do you live with someone? Do you live with family? And how do your family and like loved ones view your collecting as? Because it seems to be the general consensus seems to be like we're nuts, we're crazy, but how does your family?
So I live with my fiance.
I'll see you, bro.
Respect to her. Yeah, she's holding it down right now. Since I'm a student, she's holding it down. In terms of my family and my loved ones, her viewing the collection, she does also think I'm crazy. And also she does tell me that eventually down the line, you will sell all this. On my head saying, yes, I will. And then in the back of my head, there's like a big asterisk saying, the only ones I'm keeping are the personal like favorites. So like I will probably never get rid of any of my Kobe jerseys. The Nets jerseys are here to stay, and then maybe some jerseys of like my top 5 or 10 players of all time. But I could see the rest of them being given to another fan. You know, the way I think collecting, the way we have to kind of approach it as well, you know, for those retired collectors out there, is it's all part of the game in terms of, I think, giving up your item to a fan who might be more passionate about the player or the team. And I think there's some like beauty in just kind of passing that forward. So I think down the line, I will probably end up downsizing some part of the collection, like of some players that I might not be as big a fan of. There might be a kid out there who's a big fan of John Wall, you know?
Do you see yourself collecting like 10, 15 years from now, you know, like, or do you see yourself just collecting but at a slower pace? Like, how do you view your collecting as?
I think definitely at a much slower pace, given that my fiance and I, you know, once we get married, probably settle down, have a family, you know, all the focus is probably going to go towards the kids. So I will definitely have to slow down in terms of the pacing there. But I'll probably try to pick up maybe like 1 or 2 jerseys from like the new season. The way Nike's approaching it, I mean, they're genius in terms of their marketing. If I like a new City Edition, exactly, new City Edition, new Earned Edition, or Hardwood Classics, oh, I got to get it that year. But I think down the line, I got to really like that jersey to buy it. That's the way I'm envisioning it. I don't think I will be obviously as active in terms of the rate at which I'm collecting, you know, in the now and in the past.
I follow you on IG, so I see the type of content that you post up, and a lot of it is a lot of basketball-esque type posts, you know, like MVP, or, you know, this player scored this much on this day, this game. If you're not like collecting, are you still going to be posting frequently? Because I don't think you necessarily have to stop buying jerseys to continue posting on your page. That's what I love about your page, is that it really takes people back and appreciate the history and the games.
I think the page, first off, yeah, shout out to King Leonidas. He was the person to really encourage me, because I would interact with him on my personal Instagram and we would message each other all the time. And he just strongly encouraged me to open up my IG. And I did last year, I think February of 2020. And it's been more than a year now, but the community, the followers, people I've interacted with, I think for me, my favorite part about that, the conversations I've had with everyone, you know, ranging from the trolls and the haters, because, you know, you got to have the haters to kind of fuel you, you know, in some light or way. If I stop collecting jerseys, I do think I can still post with the jerseys that I have. There was a time where, yeah, I mean, it's brief, but there was a slight lull, I would say, for like a month or two where I just didn't get anything. And I would just kind of post some of the old jerseys I have in some combination. And I like to think of my page as kind of, yeah, I try to give, informative content, try to shed light on some of the throwback moments that some people might have forgotten. Also, just give the roses to the players who are with us now. I think, rest in peace, Earl DMX Simmons. But you see, when it's a part of life, when death hits and you see a lot of people show their love for a certain person, it makes you really reconsider, like, we should appreciate those we have with us now. The purpose of my page is mostly to kind of shed that light and just give the respect for the players who've we are all fans of the game because of the players. That's just first and foremost.
That's real, dude. And I really like that about like sports in general. You know, it's just we're able to appreciate the exact moment in time, you know, from this day on. You know, this is history in the making, you know what I mean? So I forgot to ask, is there like a specific sport? I mean, I know your page is like basketball threads, but like do you like watch other sports like football, hockey, or anything like that?
Not really. Growing up, I mean, besides basketball, I think the only other sport I follow is baseball. And that's like really surface level. I wouldn't even consider myself a baseball fan. I was a fan of the Yankees growing up. I stopped watching the Yankees since Jeter retired in 2014. My childhood of baseball was watching the Yankees just win it, I think, 4 times in a 5-year stretch. I think that's what it was from 96 to 2000. It was an insane stretch. If you were a fan at the time, I just think about it like in terms of sports, the Bulls winning all that in the 90s, the Yankees winning, and then the Lakers winning, you know, like it was a really crazy time from 90s to like the early 2000s. I'm digressing.
No, you're good.
I don't really follow any other sports. So football, I'll pretend to care and like follow the game on Super Bowl Sunday, but like I don't know really anything about football. I did fantasy football 1 year.
Yeah.
I think my team got like the best record in the regular season, but it got rocked in the playoffs. So like I don't know football. And hockey, I also do not follow. But I think, respect to all those athletes, and what they do. I don't think people really understand that how much work and preparation and the discipline it requires to be that elite mentally and physically. I think a lot of young fans, maybe even some of the older fans, kind of just lose that perspective.
What's the future of your page?
I think of an idea of like trying to be a little more helpful in terms of jerseys, especially with the Swingman line. I'll try to come up with an idea and make a video about it. My YouTube channel now, for those who follow and for those who don't follow, mostly focuses on just like a closer look at a particular jersey. I'll make like a quick video about it. Regarding the Instagram page, I think I'll just continue posting, you know, throwback highlights or just some combination or array of the jerseys being outlined in some way. Mostly just kind of just continue what I'm doing. I don't think there's really, I'm not doing this for money. This is all just for fun, for the passion of the game. And I think for just interacting with other like-minded individuals.
All right, so we are unfortunately running short on time here, but I gotta ask this before I let you go, man. If you could show us your top 5 jerseys in your collection, or just top 5 jerseys in general. You don't even have to own them, but what are your top 5 NBA jerseys, and who are your top 5 NBA players of all time?
Top 5 all time?
You don't even have to give an explanation, bro. You could just list the names, and I won't even like question it or anything.
I'm gonna have to save that for another time, but
okay.
I did actually pull up some like my top 5 favorite jerseys in my collection. If that's okay, I'll just show that. Yeah, let me just pull this up here.
Cool.
This will be number 5 on the list.
Okay. Ooh.
We got the D Wade. Let me do it this way. D Wade, Miami Vice, 2018-19.
Yeah. Cool.
I personally think these designs are going to be timeless when we look at it like 15, 20 years from now.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Lin, Swingman. Shout out to Linsanity on the Knicks. This jersey is a keeper for life. These top 5 jerseys are never leaving my collection. Let's just leave it at that. Number 3 on the list is more personal. KD, 35 Warriors. I know you're going to like that one. This was gifted to me by my fiance.
Oh, right on.
A nice personal backstory behind this, actually. Number 2 all time is actually my first ever purchase with my own money. So this is the white Kobe Bryant Swingman jersey. The number 1, just because, I don't know, his story was just a little curtailed and short-lived because of injury. And I remember getting this during his MVP season. Gotta go with D Rose, number 1. This is the Chicago Bulls alternate away jersey. And these are all Swingman jerseys, but they're my top 5 favorites.
I wouldn't question those one bit, bro. That's cool, man. All right, bro. I could talk to you all day about basketball stuff because I love the game, man, so much. I'm a fan just like you. But before I let you go, man, like where can people find you on like your social media handles?
If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at basketball_threads. And my YouTube channel name is, I don't have one. It's just my name. It's Eric. But if you want to follow me on YouTube, go to my Instagram first and then check the link in the bio. You can find my YouTube channel from there. You know, I just want to say thank you so much for having me, Josh. It's been a real pleasure talking with you. I didn't realize an hour flew by like this. You know, it's kind of
You heard it right there from Basketball Threads, aka Eric, guys. Please check him out. I will link his social media handles on the description below. Subscribe, follow this man, and you know, talk shop with him, man, because he's very knowledgeable. His NBA jersey game is vicious. And his Nets are most likely going to win it this year. I'm knock on wood. I'm not trying to jinx y'all, but you know, real cool dude. Thank you, man. I'm so humble for you to join me in this, and I'll definitely see you again, man. This is not the last time we're going to see you, bro.
More than happy to join you again for sure. Thank you.
Anytime, bro. All right. Do you have any final thoughts? Any last minute things you want to say before I let you go?
You guys need to subscribe to Josh on YouTube. If you're a viewer, a non-subscriber, you need to subscribe to this man's channel. He puts in a lot of time and work in his content. You do see it. If you know, you know. And it's not easy producing this kind of content, especially with the edits. The edits are, I think, what really is time consuming. For those who've never edited a video, you don't know the time and effort it takes. So you need to subscribe to this man's channel, like his videos.
Appreciate that, man. I'm super humbled by that, man. Don't worry, I'll edit that out. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
Eric, thank you, man. I appreciate you again, like always. You know, please, again, like I said, guys, subscribe to this man's channel, follow him on IG and everything. And yeah, man, good luck to your Nets. Good luck to you, bro. Wish you all well and the best.
Yeah, sounds good, man. Thank you.